Hey everybody, I'm Philip.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are Pajamas. And we are joined by the sweet sounds of downstairs neighbors having a party. So yay. And we are here on week 4 of the October thing we're doing, where we watch a different horror movie every single weekend in October. There are technically 5 weekends, so we are watching 5 movies, and this is the 4th one. For this installment, we are watching Rosemary's Baby.
I've been wanting to see that for such a long time.
Yes. 2 items of note. 1, the list was compiled by Justin. He gave me a list of movies he would like to see, and I picked 5 from that list. We've been kind of alternating between like stuff that I've seen, I wanted to show you, and then something older.
I've wanted to see that both of us haven't seen.
Yeah, and that's what this is. I've not seen Rosemary's Baby. You've not. I know obviously the premise and the plot and all that stuff, but still worth checking out. Item of note number 2, disclaimer number 2. We are filming these in advance. These are not being filmed in October. You put it perfectly. These
are being made for October, not in October.
Exactly. Just due to like time, availability, schedules, we aren't able to do it in real time. We're doing this in advance, which gives me time to, or gives us time to record them, gives me time to edit them, and all that good stuff. So this is inexplicably 2 hours long. So without further ado, let's get into it. William Castle again. Hey. Credits are very pink.
And a lot of television plays and commercials.
Well, that's where the money is, isn't it? The commercials.
And the artistic thrills, too. Yeah.
It's the guy from Haunted Hill.
7?
The one that was the...
Originally, the smallest apartment was a 9. They've been broken up into 4, 5s, and 6. A nice, large bathroom.
Mint, basil.
No marijuana?
Give me a hand, will you?
The Trent sisters were 2 proper Victorian ladies. They cooked and ate several young children, including a niece.
Oh, lovely.
Adrian Mercato practiced witchcraft.
I was starving and on dope and doing a lot of other things. They're childless, though. I'm like the daughter they never had. At first, I thought they wanted me for some kind of a sex thing. But they've turned out to be like real grandparents.
Get back now, will you please? Get back. There's nothing to see. Oh. Get back, will you please?
What's wrong? Has there been an accident?
You'd better brace yourself for some bad news. She's dead. Artie, want to let these folks take a look, please?
Are you sure it wouldn't be too much trouble for you?
Honey, if there's trouble, I wouldn't ask you.
All right, you go ahead and count on us. I'll have to check with Guy, though. Mrs. Castevet was here to thank me for what I said about Terry. She is the nosiest person I've ever seen. You know, she actually asked the prices of things.
Hell, we'll go.
No, what for?
We'll go.
No, we don't have to if you don't want to. That sounds so phony, but I really mean it, really.
Be my good deed for today.
You looked uncomfortable.
Well, he is the Pope.
Well, now, you don't need to have respect for him because he pretends that he's holy.
Now, that's a good point.
When I think what they spend on robes and jewels.
A good picture of the hypocrisy behind organized religion was given, I thought, in Luther.
I'd like to have a spice garden someday.
Me too.
I guess I'm a country girl at heart.
Very interesting, Mrs.
You
Cassidy.
see?
Minnie. I'm Minnie, he's Roman, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Out of politeness. That's how I ate 2 pieces. Out of politeness.
Only 3 dinner plates that match.
Shh, they can hear you.
All that beautiful, beautiful silver.
It would be nice. Maybe they'll will it to us.
God.
Hi, dear. We're not bothering you, are we? That's my dear friend, Lara Louise McGuinn. He lives up on 12. Lara Louise just met Guy. She wanted to meet you, too. Could we come in?
Of course, please do.
There you are. Go ahead.
Dan used to give me gin through a straw to kill the pain.
Yeah. Girls today take things much more in their stride. They're much healthier than we were, thanks to vitamins, better medical care. What are those things over there, seat covers? Just a little present is all for moving in.
There's no reason.
It's real old. It's over 300 years.
Tennis, anyone?
Look, if you took it, you ought to wear it.
Donald Baumgart, he's gone blind. He woke up yesterday and he can't see.
She was rehabilitated by this old couple, the Castovets. I'm sure I told you that.
They didn't rehabilitate her very successfully, it seems.
Stop giving you the short end of the stick.
You haven't been.
Yes, I have. I've been tearing my hair out over my career. Let's have a baby. All right?
Hi, guys. How are you?
No, don't let her in. Not tonight.
Come on, the old bat slaved all day. Now eat it.
I didn't like it.
It's delicious. All right, don't eat it. There's always something wrong.
Oh, if it's gonna turn into a big thing.
Look, if you really can't stand it, just don't eat it.
It's delicious. Would you turn the record over, please?
God.
Hey.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
Don't yell. I already filed them down. I didn't want to miss baby night.
You.
And a couple of
While
my
I was
nails were
out?
ragged, and it was kind of fun in a necrophile sort of way.
Last night wasn't the only split second.
Oh, I was a little bit loaded myself, you know.
I don't let you go to no Dr. Hill nobody ever heard of. The best is what you're gonna have, young lady. Where's your telephone, huh?
It's in the bedroom.
These neighbors are very pushy.
Yeah.
Please don't read books. No pregnancy was ever exactly like the ones described in the books. And don't listen to your friends either. No two pregnancies are ever alike. I'm gonna have her make a daily drink for you that'll be fresher, safer, and more vitamin-rich than any pills on the market.
What's that?
I've been to Vidal Sassoon.
Don't tell me you paid for that.
Uh-huh.
What are you talking about? You look great. It's that haircut that looks awful.
God.
You want the truth, honey? That's the worst mistake you ever made.
I think she looks good. Don't listen to him, Mia. You look very pretty.
Hatch, I might as well tell you, I'm pregnant.
Oh, rubbish. Pregnant women gain weight, they don't lose it.
I like the idea of having everything fresh and natural. I bet expectant mothers chewed bits
Including my tobacco
of tannis
smoke
root when nobody
for my
even
baby.
had vitamin pills.
Tannis root? What's she like?
Nosy. Funny.
Loot!
Seems congratulations are in order.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it?
When's the baby due?
June 28th.
It was really a different time back then.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't mine. What?
I look terrible.
Good old Hutchie, spreading cheer wherever he goes.
What about you?
I'm gonna get a paper, honey.
Taken ill.
Yes. He's in a deep coma at St. Vincent's Hospital.
That's awful. It's going to be a very special party. You have to be under 60 to get in. It's going to be a buffet, and we're getting a bartender.
Oh,
So.
I'll help you take the coat.
Oh, no, really, you do too much for me.
You look like a piece of chalk.
That's so mean. God.
Trench sisters. Look, I have to wash these.
Use the bathroom.
Yay.
Is that their hint for today?
They're my friends. Don't
They're
call
a
them
bunch of
bitches.
not very bright bitches who ought to mind their own goddamn business.
All they said was get a second opinion. Want to go to Dr. Hill and get a second opinion.
I won't let you do it, Ro. I mean, because it's not fair to Saperstein.
Not fair to... What are you talking about?
What else? Oh, Rosemary, for Christ's sakes, what else was in that drink?
Stop shaking. What the fuck is wrong with you? Mmm.
Where's my book?
Oh, I put it in the garbage.
That wasn't a perfume. That was a good luck charm. I threw it away.
Good. Maybe the doctor will follow your example.
Dr. Saperstein made some sort of deal with Guy. They gave him success, and he promised them our baby to use in their rituals. I know this sounds crazy, but I've got books here. Look. I was sleeping.
Yep.
Terribly urgent. Don't forget. Hmm? Don't
worry, I'll tell her.
Thank you. Where is it?
There were complications, Rosemary, but nothing that'll affect future births.
Hmm.
What have you done to its eyes?
He has his father's eyes.
Supposing you had the baby and you lost it, wouldn't that be the same? We're getting so much in return, Ro.
Sit down with the others, Laura Louise.
How sweet. Regardless of who or what he is, he's still her son.
Only you. I think only you're the only person in the world that saw that movie and went, how sweet. The poor lady has Stockholm syndrome. She's just a poor woman.
I liked it how it seemed like maybe she is correct, maybe she's mistaken at the beginning and middle of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because it did seem like she could be correct or she is being hysterical.
Did you know anything about the movie going in? See, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew that she was having the son of the devil, and I knew that there was a coven of witches. Or like I didn't know they were witches, but I knew they were like Satanists. So I was like picking up on the cues. That's what I was looking for the entire time, to see how many people were in on it. And it's like from the beginning. They do a really good job of building this up. Like, this thing's long. It's like 2 hours and 16 minutes long. And seeing as how it's based off of a book, I wonder like how like faithful of an adaptation it is, because it's so long. But not in a bad way. It just told one complete story. And it spent like a good 45 minutes to an hour building to that first kind of like, oh shit. It wasn't until about 45 to 50 minutes in that we got that dream sequence where it was, the devil impregnating her.
Yes, now that I've seen this ending, now that scene makes much more sense.
Mm-hmm. Pleasantly surprised. Because you know how I am about my feelings about older movies.
Yes. Well, at least this one was in color.
Well, not just that, it was well acted. Well, for the most part. Guy was so gruff about everything. Like, there was no, like, nuance to his character. Maybe there wasn't supposed to be. But Mia Farrow did a fantastic freaking job.
I did recognize her name.
Yeah. I really didn't recognize her until she got the short hair. I was like, Mia Farrow, okay. And now they're all telling her how awful she looks. And I was like, you look really good. You look really cute. You rock that hairstyle, girlfriend.
Yes, I found it very odd that so many people were a little too brutally honest about what they thought of her hair.
Yeah, they're a little mean. Someone kind of said that she looked like a stick of chalk. I was like, dang. Poor lady. So yeah, so this is interesting then. We're seeing it from two different perspectives. You had no idea going in what was going on. I knew what was going on. So everything for you was a revelation.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know the actual story. I just knew that she delivers the son of the devil.
And it also made sense of what was said during the New Year's party when he said the year and then said year one.
Yes.
And I was wondering, year one of what? And now that I've seen the ending, yes, year one of a new era.
Yep. I like the callback to the closet that they discovered in the beginning that she had covered up.
Yes, it turned out it's actually a doorway.
Yep, the Satanist lair. I felt bad for her. I did. I was like, she was just being emotionally and psychologically and sexually abused. Her husband was a giant piece of shit. Like, I wanted her to stab him with a knife.
Basically, she was livestock to them.
She was just a broodmare, essentially. The ending could have been the same, whatever, that's fine. But I wanted her to just stab the husband so bad. I wanted him to die so bad. You are just, you're a massive piece of shit. It was just like gaslighting his wife, like, for 2 fucking hours. He wasn't likable. He wasn't attractive. He was a douche. And he let Satan fuck his wife so that he could be famous.
Yes, which she didn't appreciate, especially since he didn't even talk to her about it.
Then the next day pretends that he like raped her while she was unconscious.
Which still nevertheless does seem odd. He even said that it was like necrophilia, and I was wondering, and that's supposed to be somehow arousing to her?
Like, yeah. Oh, that changes everything, honey. Thank you. But for the most part, I think the story unfolded very well. Like, it was slow, but it was deliberately slow. Like, I was never bored. This was a 2-hour movie. Like, it's time for lunch. Like, the story was engaging enough. I didn't know how we were going to get there, but I knew the end result. So watching and knowing that she wasn't crazy, you were watching it with benefit of the doubt.
Yes, it looked like it could have gone either way, that she was correct, or, oh, she's only being paranoid. But either way, it's still horror in its own way, because whichever way it turns out, it's still a psychological horror, because her mind is being consumed by this.
Yeah. Makes you wonder how it would have played out had she not found the door in the closet. Yeah.
Indeed.
Like, they would have kept milking her and gaslighting her and making her think she was imagining it. And then I guess eventually they would move to Beverly Hills and they would just raise the baby back in New York. And as for the ending, I did like it. She is, yeah, the older lady.
The neighbor?
Yeah. Thought she was a little much.
She made herself be too much.
I did like the husband. And it's one of the cool things, like, early on.
I thought that he was very interesting. He would have been a very interesting person to talk to.
That's the curious thing. Like, when they were over for dinner the first time, when Minnie and Rosemary were in, I think they were in the kitchen, and Guy and Roman were in the other room. If you watch it back, look at Guy's face when she walks back in. And I was like, oh, that's where it started. That's where it started. That's where Roman got into his head, I think, and started making the deal. See? It's kind of like,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like, I was looking. So.
Wondering how much of the conversation did she hear? She didn't hear any of it.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collected there. So yeah, I may give John Cassavetes a little bit of a knock on how he played the character, but stuff like that, top notch, because you didn't notice it. I did, because I was looking for it. So if you're not looking for it and you don't notice it, good job. I don't think it was so much as portrayal, just how the character was written. Maybe it was just written so one-dimensional that in all, because he even said several times during the movie how self-centered he was and how, selfish he was. I think he was just laying the groundwork for himself as a character for the whole movie, because in the end, yeah, everything he did was for himself.
Yes.
Like, he sold out his wife and their baby for success. So he told her early on exactly what he was. Stuff like that, makes me appreciate it. The way it unfolded, because it was a slow burn. But if you were paying attention, they really put the clues there. It'd be interesting one for you to go back and watch and then see, now that you know what's happened, what's going on, see, like, when they first walk into, let's see if I can find it. But I think it started like way back before they even moved in. Like, that guy staring super hard at them. Like, oh. Stuff like that. Makes me think that it was like this entire thing was orchestrated from the very beginning. They moved them into that apartment on purpose because they were right wall to wall with the Satan layer. So everyone there had to be involved in it.
Easy access.
Yeah. Just little things like that. Like, it makes me think that, like, everyone in that building in some capacity was in on it. It makes you wonder what exactly happened to the stray, like the girl they picked up off the street that flung herself from the window with a suicide note. And she had that same charm on. Like, what were they like? Did they choose her as backup until Rosemary came along, and like Satan was like, "No, I want her." Like, okay, we don't need you anymore.
That's very possible, especially since it was only after she was impregnated that she even wore the necklace?
I don't think so. I think that was just the mark of being chosen, if my theory is correct. Since Teresa, or whatever her name was, Terry or whatever, was no longer chosen, they need to go on to the next chosen person. But then the doctor uses it too in his aftershave. So it's like, what is the purpose of this?
It's very interesting.
Pungent smelling thing. But it was meant to a charm. And it was one that the girl had. So I'm thinking that she was chosen first and then...
as some sort of mark that she is the chosen one.
Yeah. But just little things like that. Just like a little charm. To stuff in the glass. Like, there's so many clues there, but they could also be red herrings. They could be just nice people trying to help this woman out.
Yes.
So...
for example, the herbs, well, maybe they like to have homegrown herbs.
Yeah.
Many people who cook at home have those.
I would like that as well. But there was the pills from the doctor, and just all these things. It's also interesting to think about that for the first half of the pregnancy, over half. Well, no. So she got pregnant theoretically in October, and she was looking awful, frail, losing weight until like New Year's or so. So the first trimester, then, it seemed like that the fetus was eating her alive in order to sustain it. She was eating like, barely cooked meat. She was eating like liver or whatever that was. Like, she was...
Indeed, as if it was some sort of instinct in her that she's losing her vital life force. Blood, practically.
Well, the baby was hungry, so...
And so she ate what appeared to me to be some sort of liver.
Yeah. But basically eating what the baby wanted. Because she was like, when she saw herself, she's like, what am I doing? She wasn't herself. So I think it's interesting that because I didn't know how it ended for sure. I didn't know if she lived or died. I had two theories. One, that she was going to die in childbirth. And when she didn't, I was like, oh, this is continuing. Where do we go from here? Or I thought she was going to die at the end. Somehow.
That maybe now that she finally gave birth to the child, well, they don't need her anymore.
Well,
Try to hide any evidence.
I thought when she found the Satan layer with all the people in it, I thought she was going to stab herself. Because she just couldn't take the guilt of what happened and what they did to her. But she didn't. I actually preferred the ending we got.
Well, yes, because what they said is true. She is the child's mother.
Yeah.
So she will, of course, instinctively be a mother to it.
Yeah. It's also cool to think about movies like this. It's like 53 years old. This, I know we say it. We said it with Haunted Hill as well. But Haunted Hill was just kind of like a campy, kind of like a little romp of a movie. Like, this was dramatic. And I think this really holds up.
Oh, yes. I actually especially like it that they didn't, well, with the final reveal that they weren't very cartoon-like and exaggerated any satanic things going on. All that they did was have the black crib.
I'm also glad that they didn't show the baby. I like things being left to the imagination. Because it makes it much more visceral and harrowing if you use your own imagination to conjure up, it has its father's eyes, and you should see its hands and its feet. It has hooves and claws and whatever, stuff like that. So
maybe.
Yeah. I like that. I think it's cool. Like, this was just like, as you were saying earlier, no matter what happened, this was a psychological horror movie. And I think that's why it holds up so well, because there was no hokey effects. Haunted Hill had some rather hokey-ish things. Granted, it was like 9 years, and that's kind of crazy. I think this is 9 years after Haunted Hill. Like, the strides they made in cinema and storytelling and acting. Granted, this didn't have Vincent Price, but had fucking Mia Farrow, who carried this movie on her freaking back. Like, she made this movie work. Her delivery was great. The way she played the character was great. She looked fragile and angry and upset. And I think she was perfectly cast. And for being 53 years old, this movie does a hell of a job of still maintaining its storytelling ability and just being captivating. Because oftentimes in older movies, I get bored or the acting is hokey. Even Haunted Hill, I liked it. But I wasn't like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. You can see why it's a horror classic, this one. It's a shame that my prejudices to older movies prevented me from seeing it for all these years, which I own up to. Because this would have been nice to see, in my teenage years, when I wouldn't have known the plot. This part would have blew me the fuck away. Because there's a lot of stuff you see now. Like the baby eating the host and, eating the raw meat. We've seen that in other movies before. But this was doing it. And I have to say, this is probably one of the better book adaptations. I'll have to look up and see what the author thought of it.
Even by the end, it was still surprising because it seemed to be giving you the impression that they simply wanted to use the baby as a sacrifice. But no, even that is not the case. Surprise, it's actually the son of Satan.
Yeah, there's actually a short, unofficial sequel to this. And I looked into it, and that's when I found out the plot and everything. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I didn't think I was ever going to see this. But as I said, I wish I had. All right, want to go to my notes?
Yes.
Okay.
Philip's notes.
Pretty cool that we watched two things that had involvement from William Castle this month. Shows you how influential William Castle was to the genre of horror back in the day.
What an interesting coincidence that we have on the list two films with a similar name attached.
Yeah, pretty cool. That was funny in the beginning when when the woman threw herself from the window, allegedly. I was like, crime scenes in the 60s. Because they were just out there on the road. Anyone could look. Step away, sir. Step away, sir. Step away, sir. You need to get back. Like, no. That's...
Was there no such thing as police tape back then?
Possibly not. I wrote here, I said, I really like Mia Farrow's delivery. I did. I really liked it a lot. Especially that part where she's measuring out the stuff for the cushions for the window. And she says, that sounds phony, but it's not. When talking to her husband, it's like, that's, yeah. Because it did sound like she was like just not caring, but I appreciated that they added that in. I was like, that's very cool. Like, I started writing down the clues that I saw. I was like chanting, people staring in the hall, which I showed you. Guy's face when talking to Roman, showed you that. What's in that necklace? The moose, which we found out later, was in fact some witch's version of a date rape drug. That's what I'm guessing.
He had to make sure that he gave her the correct one because he was eating. Because one thing that I was wondering, are they after both? Are they going to try to make both of them fall asleep? But no, he's awake. He didn't pass out. So it isn't something that's in the entire moose, only in one thing.
Exactly.
But that would then imply that he is in on it.
And that's what I was talking about. They do a good job of slowly building what's going on through the situations like that. Really good job. How we started with them moving in, and then the passage of time was like more and more decorating being done. I thought that was a cool way to denote time moving forward. That was really cool.
They have rather bright taste.
Yes, they do.
When walking in there, I was wondering, when the baby is born, is it going to have to wear sunglasses to go to bed?
They'll probably have to do that anyway. And then we had that dream sequence. Dream sequence. I just like, there was a lot to digest in that. I was like, I didn't know where to begin. There was so much going on from the, the stuff on the ceiling, like a very Sistine Chapel-esque.
And the part where they had it, now I know why it's there. The part of the Sistine Chapel that they showed was the creation of man. Yes, the creation of a different kind of man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Then like other things like, don't forget the pills. And then like you brought up, like, look, once you realize the husband's involved, it makes you go back and like replay the movie in your head. Like, as you noticed with the moose, like what other things were going on. Like when she said he came home with his stage makeup still on. Why would he do that?
To which I'd wonder, why not? Oh, he doesn't do this very often.
Another thing that they did really good, I thought, was giving Guy reasons to leave. I have to go get the paper. I'm going to go get some ice cream. He always found a way to leave, to go snitch. So again, it played into the, is he doing something malicious? Or is she paranoid? Is he actually just going out to do something?
As it seemed at the beginning, it could be either one.
So I really, that's probably my favorite part of the movie was just, other than Mia Farrow's acting, it's just how they built the story like that. You know, I knew she wasn't crazy, but if you don't know, they did a good job of planting that doubt. It could go either way.
Maybe she actually is onto something, or maybe she's only paranoid. Maybe it's a little of both.
Yeah. Then the doctor's instructions of like, don't read books, don't listen to your friends.
That made me very suspicious of this doctor. What kind of doctor says something like that?
And then Minnie will make you a drink every day. That was a red flag. Like, even if you think she's crazy, like those 3 things in succession, okay, they are being really
suspicious.
Like just really like overbearing.
Oh yeah, so I actually thought that when the 2 women actually came and started doing into her house and started doing needlepoint, I was wondering
yeah,
that these are very pushy neighbors of theirs that without even being invited, they're going into a house and making themselves at home, doing needlepoint. Hello, come in?
Yeah, like all she wanted to do was like read a book. They can't leave her alone. Obviously, we know why now, but this movie, like, I think that spoilers for another movie, it's been out. This movie has a lot of similarities with Hereditary.
Maybe it was inspired by this film.
Like, think of all the people that were in her life that were there for her because her mother was part of that cult thing, that satanic witch cult thing, and all the people that were in her life that were trying to guide her son to where he needed to be. Like, if you think about, like, there are some definite similarities, I think, between Hereditary and this, in the way they told the story, as far as like, people being in their lives for a reason and people
they're conspiring to lead this person towards a particular direction, and
yeah,
it's for, at least from the protagonist's point of view, some sort of nefarious purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. I wrote here, I was like, stop telling your husband stuff. I was getting really annoyed. Like,
yes,
stop it.
That is something that I was wondering. If she's paranoid and she's wondering if he's involved, couldn't she have simply said, I'd like to go out for a walk? And well, many people go out for walks. And then while doing that, she could have done some more investigating.
Yeah, and I did like the way she found out stuff from Hutch's book. So that was cool. The way the witches use their power to make the one guy blind and to eventually kill Hutch. Again, it was really cool how they went about it. There was no need for like overdone special effects. There was no need for, we didn't need to see a picture of the blind actor. We didn't need to see a picture of Hutch in the hospital in a coma, and then one of the witches being like, he, and they have to have a nurse is there with a pendant around their neck. We didn't need any of that because that would have been too much. They
classic tropes of such a thing.
They told the story but dialed back the exposition enough to relieve that doubt that we've been talking about. Like, I'm a huge fan of just how the story unfolded. Minnie and Roman leave. He said he wanted to go visit a few of his favorite cities. Your other covens? Are you preparing everyone for he bringing everybody back to New York for this?
Yes, there was that Italian man that came. Maybe that's from one of the other places that he went to.
Yeah.
From all over the world there was even the one Asian man, and of course, following the stereotype, he had to take pictures of everything.
Yeah. Ugh. I'm glad we've come a long way since then. And then she's talking to Dr. Hill, and she tells her entire thing, what's going on, and she says, and they're coming after me and whatnot, and he goes, it would seem that way. And I was like, oh shit, you're in trouble. Run. I was like, something's wrong. Run. I wrote, don't trust anyone.
Yes, and it turns out that he's a member.
Possibly.
Or he's at least somehow involved in it.
Well, he's definitely somehow involved in it. Or he just might have thought she was talking crazy and wanted to get, because this is the 60s.
There was still I think that even during that time, there was still such a thing as female hysteria.
Well, not just that. If a woman comes in talking like that, they're going to go after the male figures in her life for dominance. I think that's what he was doing. I don't know if he was actually part of the coven. I think he just might have been doing what he thought was right. So I think he's one of the few people not actually part of it. And then everything else in here are for my patrons over on Patreon. Overall, big thumbs up.
Yes, I really liked this one.
Even knowing what happened.
Yes, you hate spoilers with a passion, actually.
Well, yeah, this one, though, I never thought I was going to watch it because it just didn't seem interesting to me. So this is one of the ones I'm kind of ashamed of myself for. I was like, damn. In my teens, when I was really digging into like horror, like, yes, I discovered horror when I was 8, but it was in my teens that I started like branching out into horror that I wasn't supposed to watch. It would have been cool to see this because I think this would have been very influential in a lot of ways. As you know, as I said, it's been over 50 years and it's still, you know, fantastic. Very disappointed in myself that I didn't see this many, many decades ago because I am old. But better late than never.
Definitely.
So, good thing they put on the list, and I was like, all right.
Not all old things are drab.
Oh, so you're still into that 80-year-old man who's going to take care of you with his billions of dollars?
Now let's not get back into that subject again.
Inebriated questions number 3. That's where you want to go for that full conversation. All right, is there anything else you'd like to add about this great movie? Okay. Well, it's going to wrap this one up. We need to turn the air on. It is very, very warm. That was a very long movie, but it used every second of its film time to tell a very great story. One of those, I think if it was any shorter, it wouldn't have been as good.
Yes, I especially liked it that it had an open-ended ending.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What happens afterwards?
As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so I'll simply say thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.